I open the floor for question and answer session. I suggest that we have about 15 minutes to go. So I suggest that we take paper by paper. How would we do it? I suggest that we take paper by paper. First of all, let's get on to the paper on container traffic on the road. The presentation was made by Mr. Lalit Edirisinghe. Any questions that the floor would want to pose at the presenter? Any more questions? Well, Lalit, I have a question from you. You have identified 5 factors, basically 5 domains: road factors, timing factors, human factors, vehicle factors, and weather factors. You did not realize policy as a factor domain for you to address. I did not see in your questionnaire or whatever that you post at the people how government policy and the policy on road transportation or policy on road pricing, policy on taxation, policy on preference given to railway. Our other presenter made a case for railway presentation. Now none of those things were questioned from the because my question is that you are basically focusing on congestion problem. Now, congestion is a problem for the society more than for a particular industry. congestion has externalities a lot if we talk about in external sense. So, well, therefore the policy environment matters. Now, for example, if you say no containers in Colombo city, obviously it's a policy decision. It's nothing to do with climate or environment, or whatever you may say, road conditions or whatever. And you have a railway line from port to ICD, and then all containers are moved out of Colombo city. It's a policy decision. So we'll... Well, my point is that in that case, the question Dr. Jayawardena asked also becomes pertinent. On what level your selection of questions and domains become important in your research? Otherwise, the research outcomes, the validity of it can be challenged. So when you do your future work, you may probably have to be careful, because if you select a platform to question, those questionnaire should be covering sufficiently wider area so that someone cannot question and say, look, you have omitted that part, and so how can you probably get at the answer through this research? Thank you very much. Let's go down to the second presentation. The second presentation is on air passenger demand in Sri Lanka. Any questions to Ms. Dilhari? Anyone interested in aviation? Yes.
I found you had a number of interesting variables, which I thought was a good and a diverse coverage. But I personally felt there were way too many in a research to deal with. Did you find it challenging, and how did you really get about with so many variables involved? I have no doubt, I don't dispute the variables, right? I think they are very valid. But just from a learning perspective, how did you deal with it?
Sri Lankan context, it is very less that the research has been done on this topic. But I found so much of researches done in several other countries, and I went through those and found so many variables that they have taken into consideration. And I thought of taking those into my research and determine the factors that would be important in Sri Lankan context. So that's how I got these 15 variables. It was not that much difficult, because basically I collected data from secondary data sources. So it was really easy for me to handle data with the help of those secondary data sources. And basically in my research, the formula contains only 5 variables, so all the other 10 variables were excluded, so that was not that much difficult.
Any other questions, please?
Review, I have mentioned so many other variables that they have taken into consideration. Actually, the problem was selected as an extension of another research done by our seniors.